right, we have a really big audience here and more people coming in. Thank you everyone for being here. This is a Gathering of the Tribes Spotlight Series for March 2021. I always start out these readings with a little toast to Steve Cannon, who is our founder. A Gathering of the Tribes started as a multicultural art space was founded in 1991 by professor, poet, novelist, and art guru, mentor to many, Steve Cannon. And it's grown and changed a lot over the years. And now we are a nonprofit arts organization that publish traditionally underrepresented writers and authors of diversity. You can check out our website, tribes.org. We are open for ongoing submissions of poetry and prose all year round. To start off, I always do a toast to Steve Cannon because we definitely wouldn't be here without him, and he just passed in 2019. I'm gonna start with a little excerpt from a piece that you can actually find on Tribe's website on Steve's memorial page. This is a piece, an excerpt of a piece that was written by Catherine Arnaldi that's a remembrance of Steve Cannon. Here we go. And this is in Catherine Arnaldi's voice. She's one of our board members, was a good friend of Steve, and is also an amazing writer. And this is, I think, happening in the 90s. Here we go. The very next day, this is right after she first met Steve, Steve called and wanted me to go see Billy Bang performing on 4th Street. After the show, I told Steve how I heard Pharoah Sanders play in Cleveland at the Red Dog in 1972 and was never the same, and that I felt the same way about seeing Billy Bang. The next day, we went to an opening at Bullet Space, the next to St. Mark's Poetry to see a play by Jessica Hagedorn, and the next to a book party for a collection of poetry at St. Mark's. There, I met Margot Howard, and we all went to a bar where someone immediately ran through the door, jumped in the air, and grabbed the editor of the collection by the neck, threw him to the floor with chairs and tables falling all around, was strangling him. "Oh, please," said Margot Howard, raising her glass off the table and holding it aloft with a disgusted and bored look on her face. Steve was laughing and laughing. Would you believe that? That's some funny ass shit. Steve was bent over laughing. "What's so funny?" I asked. "The editors didn't put his funny ass poem in the book." Steve sat cross-legged, smoking a cigarette, laughing and laughing. Next was a party at, and I don't know how to say this, Kinkenbala? Does anyone remember that? Kickaleba Gallery, where Steve had written the notes about Storyville, New Orleans for the catalog. That's where I met Joe Overstreet and William Melvin Kelly. Steve lived in the old Hamilton Fish residence on 3rd between C and D. On the 3rd floor, at all hours of the day and night, there would be a constant flow of people. I met Gerald Jackson, Keith Gilliard, Sheila Alston, and many, many more, about 100 others. While the party was going on in the living room, Steve sat in a wheelchair, which he rolled up to an old typewriter on a metal typewriter stand in the middle of the room. Beside the stand was a sack of typewriter paper almost waist high in the adjacent room. The conversation was in full swing. "Get your sorry ass out of that chair and go get me some Bellantine," someone would say. "What about that show at MoMA?" one would say. "Not one artist of color." "And some smokes," Steve would say. "They're never going to include us." "Get your sorry ass up and get that Ballantine," another would say. "You're so sorry, you're not even sorry." "We got to figure this out. I am telling you, we got to make our own." "Marlboros," Steve yelled. "Quit complaining and get busy. It's our job as artists." Steve was typing. I looked over his shoulder. He was typing, "Get your sorry ass out of that chair and go get me some Ballantine." He typed. Every word that was said, he would type, click-clacking the typewriter, zerooming the metal bar, and then peeling out the paper, putting it face down on a stack of paper, and carefully putting in another sheet of paper. All right, everybody, to Steve Cannon, cheers. To Steve. I miss being in person with all of you. I can't wait until the day. All right, we're going to kick this off with our first reader, Lydia Cortez. I've known Lydia for many, many years. I'm so honored to be here and have her doing this today. Lydia Cortez is the author of the poetry collections Lust for Lust and Whose Place. Her work has also been published in various anthologies, such as Puerto Rican Poetry from Aboriginal Times to the Present, Resist Much, Obey Little, and online forums as What the Rough Beast and Upstreet Journal. In November 2019, together with Julio Marzan and other poets, she was invited by PEN Puerto Rico to participate as a panelist in Dialogue on Borica Poets in New York. She's a MacDowell Fellow and was also awarded the VCCA Valparaiso in Andalusia, Spain. Everybody, please give a big hand to Lydia Cortez. Here she is.
Thank you, Chavisa Woods, Executive Director of Tribes.org. Yay! My first poem is Song as Normal Again. Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2021. Things seem normal again, hallelujah. Sunshine as if it belongs in the colors that manifested in it. No ugliness or shame, no hateful language tearing down. Song seems normal again. Can we trust again? Hallelujah. Oh, those purples, the bleeding together of reds and blues. Oh, those down home blues that have had us down too long. Oh, those purples, maroons, those reds, those pops of white, reds, that very special yellow bird, the young poet with her crown of red on her very wise head. Delicate fingers fluttering her song of hallelujah. Oh, how normal it all feels. The gorgeous clear night, illuminating fireworks, fumigating the air, to feel real again, to breathe, and dare we say the word hope again, overused. Oh, hallelujah. Hope as normal and righteous as love. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, the work of bringing those babies back to their mamas, safe at last. Oh, hallelujah, the work to do, to save. Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. This following poem comes from an inspiration from a poem I learned as a little girl from my mother, which was called La Rosita Cayó en el Agua. And I was taught this poem probably by the time I was 3 or 4. I was reciting the poem at family parties, and they'd bring out a little crate, and I'd stand on the crate and I'd recite the poem La Rosita Cayó en el Agua. The rose. The skin of the horse, like a petal, well imbued with the scent of the rose, bordering on the mind where nothing was imminent, expected, after the time of the empty order. My mother taught me about the rose, never mind about the horse. La rosita cayó en el agua. The rose, little rose, fell in the water. La rosita se desahogó. The rose, little rose, fell apart, lost its petals, naked as a horse. Mi mamá me quiere mucho. My mother loves me so, skin or no. Mi mamá me quiere mucho. She loves me so. Pero yo la quiero más. That's what I was taught, that I'd always love her more, skin or no. The next two poems I'm sorry, I got muted by accident. Anyway, the next two poems I was saying are, I guess I could call them backlash poems, and they're poems, I'd say backlash poems. Well, I think you'll see why, but I guess I'm complaining a little bit about some things, but it's tongue in cheek also. Stick to your own kind. Okay, so you like how my lingo sounds sprinkled around with your own words. Okay, so you can have bodega, maybe even bodeguero, though that's a bit much for you, 4 whole syllables in Spanish. The lingo is mine. I can use it wholesale for an entire poem or letter or story or essay, but it's not really yours. You don't even know it as a second language. Learn your own better before you start scattering mine around. I know it feels sexy, makes you feel more lubricated, more in the know, but no, it's mine first and foremost, and you must ask permission if you persist, or at least buy me a persimmon or two to sweeten the deal. But don't ask me to give you, tell you, explain to you, translate any of my lingo. I struggled with yours and asked nothing of nobody till I learned it right better than most of yous. Getting rid of those ain'ts and learning aren't I's was no easy trick. So stick to your own kind. Remember, a boy like that might make you suffer. Stick to your own lingo or learn one, really learn it. Then I'll leave you be. And this one is my other backlash poem. And this is called, I Went to the Sea for Oranges, a thing the sea doesn't have. And that line actually comes from a poem from a Costa Rican poet named Yunis Odio. I went to the sea for oranges, a thing the sea doesn't have. I went to some Latino guy poets to see about the place of the ladies, a thing these Latino guy poets don't have. That's why I call some Latino guy poets macho bitches. And now I'm going to read a longer poem. I've been working on a project about Pedro Pietri, with who I was close to him and his family for over 10 years. And Pedro was quite a character, as most of you who knew him know. So, for example, for being so cheap, I have messed up my feet. The reverendo was beginning to have a whole shtick worked out. He had had his reverend papers mail ordered and legit. He had had his condoms and poem bit. He had his cross with the condoms decorating it. He had, for being so cheap, I have messed up my feet, sung to the tune of Amazing Grace. For after all, your feet are only human. La Madama. Te quiero tanto, te quiero. Te quiero tanto, te quiero. Romántico tanto, el trío Los Panchos in the dark with just a few votives burning strategically placed in a few areas of the small cell-like room. The most important candle was right under La Madama. La Madama was the key and focus of the ceremony. Te quiero tanto, te quiero. Te quiero tanto, te was the key of the focus of the ceremony. How much was she loved, sought for her non-committal gaze, a mere 10-inch doll, dark brown, but features stubbornly white as any other pink doll you'd find in any cheap toy store. These dolls were also bought by montones, by Latina grandmammies, to be adorned with their crocheted long-skirted masterpieces, starched into place with matching hat and sometimes purses, and placed prominently on a master bed or important living room couch or the best bureau in the house. Te quiero tanto, te quiero. Te quiero tanto, te quiero. Y el día que vino Charlo, the day Charlo, the uncle Charlo, he only came one time. He was visiting from PR, desde Ponce, where he held a respectable standing in La Playa by others seeking favors to help promote a romance, to punish a wayward lover, to put back into order a household where a teenage girl was feeling the first awakenings of her first awakenings and sneaking out after midnight to satisfy the yearnings with the cutest local boy, all expert in those areas. This despite being just 15. Charlo did other things to bring jobs to a husband who had been laid off from the cement factory. This and so much more did Charlo do to correct unhappy, unwieldy situations. He had powers that not everybody had. And so people came to seek out his advice, his particular instructions to make all well, or at least better again. To the parents seeking to stop the paticalientes of their daughter, Charlo suggested a simple solution. Write the girl's name on a small piece of paper and fold several times till small enough to fit a cube in a cube of an ice tray, and freeze that girl till she stopped and her legs and other parts cooled down. Pero el día que vino Charlo, te quiero tanto, te quiero tanto. And we walked around and around, and Charlo, his rotund dark self, around with us, Speedo, which was Pedro's nickname, Speedo, Joe, and me. Te quiero tanto, te quiero. And they took turns burning their hands, splashing Florida water on them, passing them over the votive under the Madama. And when the flames got as high as they could, they'd swing their arms back and forth till the flames were out. They'd whisper to the Madama, to her good fortune, and to theirs, and who knows what else, what desires and dreams they whispered to her. What hopes and fears, and they burned and burned and drank and drank. We all drank from that half pint of Donku. And round they went. Te quiero tanto, te quiero. And suddenly the spirit entered Charlo. It was like something or more than one thing got into Charlo, and I couldn't tell it was a good thing or a bad thing, and I was afraid. And Charlo went down on the floor, was down on the floor, gyrating blindly, legs and arms akimbo and flailing, and shoes going wildly like he was tap dancing, lying down, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. Then he just stopped and stopped and lay perfectly still, perfectly dead, with Speedo and Joe on their knees on either side of him, trying to lift him up, perfectly dead weight, except he wasn't dead. That is, he came to, he came, and they got him a chair, Speedo's black folding chair, his writing chair, and they lifted Charlo into that black unruly chair where he slumped, Speedo and Joe on either side of him so he wouldn't fall off, till he came to, till the music stopped, till the madama was over, and they asked me to blow out the candles and cover up madama in her little chicken coop cage, cover her up with the black velvet cloth till the next Monday. And that was the only time anyone ever sat at a madama, ever. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Lydia.
You're very welcome, Chubby. So thank you.
Wow. I'm sorry you can't hear everyone cheering right now. That was just, I was just enwrapped the whole time. Thank you for that. That's amazing. I wrote down that line, I went to the sea for oranges, a thing the sea doesn't have. The moment you said that, I was like, this is such an open, you know, sentence. This is just, it leaves it so open to possibilities, and it means so many things. And what is she referring to? And then you gave your own version where you took it from this abstract sort of space where it could be about almost anything, and then it very specifically was about macho bitches.
Macho bitches.
Which is a very different, yeah, which I loved. I love taking it all the way from one extreme to the other and using that same foundation.
Thank you, Chubby.
That was gorgeous. Oh my God. What an amazing description of a possession. I hope that you will look at the chat bar here. I know a lot of times when people are reading, it can feel like you're reading into the void. But the last poem you told, the last poem that you gave us, which was also this amazing story, everyone's really responding to that. I just hope you can see that over there in the chat. Thank you so much. Lydia Cortez, again, everyone. Thank you so much. All right. A lot of these people I have known since I was very young. I was just a punk kid who was at Tribes. And so a lot of them have started to feel just very familiar to me, and I feel really honored to know them. I think Patricia Spears Jones is probably someone I met the first month or two I was at Tribes. I just remember her sitting at some of the poetry readings and just her reactions and her smiling and people telling me that's Patricia Spears Jones. And I was always really nervous to go say hi to you at first, but eventually I did. And I'm just so honored to have her here. Every time she reads, she kind of, you know, knocks me on the floor. Patricia Spears Jones is a poet, writer, and editor, a literary curator, and an activist. She's the author of A Lucent Fire and 9 other poetry collections and 2 plays. She's the 2017 Jackson Poetry Prize recipient. She is an emeritus fellow for Black Earth Institute and an organizer of American Poets Congress. Everybody give it up for Patricia Spears Jones. Here she is.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, the host has spotlighted your video for everyone. I love reading this. Oh, sorry. Hi. Okay. Oh, Lydia, you're a tough act to follow. That's all I gotta say. But I'll do my best. I'm going to read almost everything that is relatively new, things that are published, but they're not published in a book yet. And starting with this, and there's just a moment where it's going to be the East Village world. But before that, the pace of ferocity. Night winds rush faces, fabric of fur covers heads, faces streaked with the ferocity of hatred. Names called, each one uglier. Names called, each one's mispronounced, misrepresented. These worlds live we in, feral howling the full wolf moon, departing as grandly as the harvest moon, arriving with harvest a deceptive harmony. Oh, this lingering heaviness, these amazing feats, feast in memory made last days, marks of woe. Death-haunted man on side street, boy on sidewalk, young girl at door, boy in a park, marks of madness, marks of woe. Bearable a year of unexpected sadness, and then unexpected torments. Witness the unraveling of spirits as the round earth spins. Chavisa has put this up on the tribe's website because I had a visitation from Steve Cannon. And everybody knows that Steve Cannon did not ride around in a car. So this is totally a dream. Walking on Avenue A on the Tompkins Square Park side. We are walking, Sandra Payne and me, on an unpeopled Avenue A. It is dark, but too dark, and even in daytime, it's dark on Avenue A. We walk on the sidewalk on the Tompkins Square Park side, no dogs. We see Steve Cannon driving a sedan. He rolls down his windows. Want to ride? Sandra waves no, but I say, hey, maybe he's going further? So we've gone over to where he is parking his car. It's 7th Street. He parallel parks on Avenue A and 7th Street, so the garage man can check his car. This is the unblind Steve, the unglassed Steve. His eyes bright brown, but what is strange is his hair. He has too much straight black hair. It's a wig, a sort of bad Beatles cut with bangs. Steve Cannon with bangs? He's smiling, but the hair, it's post-chemo wig hair. It's the worst haircut you've ever had and must cover it up wig hair. Steve had that New Orleans mess with me hair. The wig is a rebuke of all that New Orleans flair. It's roomy and safe, and he salutes Sandra and me, and we salute him back, and then the dream ends. And thank you, Teresa, for really liking the poem. It was so strange because Steve, I never saw Steve in a car the whole time I knew him, and that was since like 1974, 75. New Orleans Bop is about Tom Dent, who was a really good friend of Steve's and part of the Umbra group. New Orleans Bop. And this is about a visit to New Orleans, for real. Falsetto hits those high notes on the radio. Donna Summer celebrated. Remember, he wore a red jumpsuit with sequins and distinctive pattern, a one-hit wonder of a man doing an early set for old friends in his bar, typically black. The red banquettes, the loop-de-loop smoke from desolate cigarettes. Tom Dent was alive. The lights are never bright. This is not Broadway. The red jumpsuit, the heavy permed hair, James Brown, late 70s do, exaggerated. How the material stretches, his voice a token of feminine energy, and yet the swagger is masculine, a 70s idea of gender shifting, ambivalence on display. Tom Dent gently gossips, recollection, Treme, under a shaking superhighway, New Orleans, late 70s, Tom Dent is dead. The lights are never bright. This is not Broadway. Tom Dent is dead. Memory tremors, Treme, New Orleans, and Donna Summer is on the radio, falsetto in a dusky place. His red sparkling jumpsuit asks us to see the singer feminized, and so we do. Song over and voice drops as fast as blood or semen spilled, oh so quickly across the pleasure canals of this water surrounded city. The lights are never bright. This is not Broadway. And earlier this year, I came to New York in 1974, and I worked with Mabou Mines, and Lee Brewer was one of the founding members. He died this year. Lee Brewer dies, I clean my stove top. Clove is his daughter, his eldest. Clove calls me at 10 a.m. or so. She lives in California. Her voice is rumbling, sad volume. You should know that Lee is in hospice. I did not know that Lee is in hospice. She says she had time to sit and talk to her father. Her brothers had time to sit and talk to their father. What a luxury, a break from distance placed between the living and the dying, those pandemic-built walls. But this is cancer. This is organ failure. This is old age, this dying. Thus, the family makes traditional gestures for an unconventional man. His muses, living and dead, most likely shout him quiet, and the fast-talking man is mute. Who sparks your path is always a factor of fortune. Good fortune and light remains lit no matter the brambles. Bad, and all is shadow and stumble and loss. Oh, fortune for me was good, and I cleaned my stovetop. The old stovetop has age stains and boiling over pot stories and memories of landing feet first in the muck of art making. Every memory, a pebble, stone, rock of learning. Lions die in quiet or in roar. Lions die. That light moves to one more and one more and one more. Pilot light. Yes, pilot. He was an amazing and very, very unconventional man, and Mabou Mines was my good fortune. This was published a few weeks ago by poets.org. And most of you who are on this know who Papa Carlo is, but if you don't, he's a Puerto Rican artist and mystic, I think. So, and the title comes from one of his titles. Self-portrait as retratos de cosas locas y de locos. Stolen. Shall we have cocktails while slipping about the edge of catastrophe? Gin and tonic for summer, whiskey sour for fall. All is not well, yet sun illumines green leaf trees soon bare, soon bare. Our eyes proud fence edges for morning glory vines. Our ears gallop from the booming bass of pumped up cars. Our legs move as swiftly as a catamaran. and dock. We mock the heavens with calls for paradise now. Artists perambulating the shadowed valleys of downtown Manhattan, memories of dream dulled in punk and rock clubs, filthy bathrooms. How much of what was is still now in the body, in the bones of the body. Calcium lost, teeth loose, wrist small blur, so all bracelets jangle, jangle. Lips call repeatedly a song whose words are traces of tenderness, yet sung too softly, as if only whispers could make the world hear. I actually go on Twitter, and Ann Boyer was writing once, and she literally made up this new word, and here it is. And these are poems that are a lot about being female. Ann Boyer makes a new word, and it's bellhole, Bellehole. Okay. Bellhole, beautiful hole, sophisticated slit. Thus, slut and words of ill effect on females, a trail of blasted curses leads ever on to that valley of prosperous anecdotes. You know, the one about, and then the other one, and the one that won her that prize, a husband, know the house. Bellhole. Artifice pulsates, the poet singes swifts, busy flying tree to tree, while their banner of shit down the hole in the roof, dumbass song, oh, house collecting somebody's debt, wet with memories and a tornado of ideas. Blow the damn hole. Reinvent the sweet scent of early puberty when lampposts threaten to descend upon shouting men, humoring their hormones, but getting not one glimpse or touch of the poet's perfected new word, bell hole, beautiful hole, cracked earth shuffling roots and roofs. Los Angeles is its own topographical feast day, as the virgin girls screaming in crumbling buildings, what night is this? Whose feast is worthy of this temper, these cries, the claims of jesters? Bell hole, beautiful hole, sophisticated slit. And siren song, given what's been going on in the headlines, here goes. Siren song. I have no metaphors today. All the analogies are taken. No one is wise enough or kind enough or smart enough to say what nobody wants to actually should say. Sex is messy. Humans hurt each other. Power shifts depending on who wants what more, and everybody knows how to blame. There is no shame in owning the truth of one's ambition or the topsy-turvy ways in which we switch on or off what we think will get us what we want. He wants sex, maybe, or she wants sex, maybe, or both think that is what they should want, and then he does something stupid, or she acquiesces at an inopportune moment, or they find themselves 3 a.m. waiting for 7 a.m. to come. That's the easy part. The dull date part. It's the other uglier part that gets the headlines. The mad talk. The guy who just happens to have hands in places where they received no invitation. The guy who thinks his girlfriend, his wife, his daughter, his sister, his mother is a punching bag. Oops, that's a metaphor. The guy who brings roses for bruises. The guy who calmly drives his car across the mother of his 4 children. That guy. He is a menace to society, and we all know it. So how does he get away with doing this daily, hourly, by the minute? And why are all those roses so tall? In the grave are too many women who once had roses for bruises. In offices, too many women who have had hands placed uninvited across, around, beneath their bodies. In homes, there are fathers who find incest the antidote for the dreariness of their wives, or maybe it's the romance of it all. The romance of it all is done for. But the guys are stealthy and intelligent. It is not the backlash, but the proffered alliance. The sweet tongue trying ever so hard to say just the right thing to make all the wariness, the necessary wariness, go away. In Greek mythology, sirens are female, but now the genders changed. Women watch for the rocks. Be careful to talk and examine the heart. The unhoneyed tongue may be a new undoing. Fire can take a long time to ignite. And this got me an email from the artist, which is amazing. Betty Starr's mystical chart for an unemployed sorceress. And as a woman who has been in and out of favor any number of times, I know exactly what an unemployed sorceress is. Okay. My runes are ruins. Little laughter here for my sarcasm. What to do this chart confuses, conflates moon, witch phase, and honey, local or from some exotic shore? And what of money, my saving stuff beneath deflating mattress? Each cold day warns me that my resume is unworthy. Who will hire me now that my spells are so easily broken, my warnings useless? It is a wonder that I worked as long as I could. Incantations memorized and recipes for spells written in an ink too pale for visibility. Each item sourced, the medicine worked, and then it did not. Was it the well of stories drying up, the fish scales sinking the kitchen table, the cat wandering away while spiders spread their cosmic maps unreadable to all but the other spiders? They cheer me. Again, I read the signs. Oh, how the signs obscure true knowledge, and I am blazed in this dark room, hungry, cold, and searching. Who is this thief, and why has she cast this curse? What must I do to bring runes from my parched throat, medicine back to my pockets? That's too more. So while many of you were here in New York during the lockdown, I was in Roanoke, Virginia. I was the Hollands writer in residence, and I couldn't come back because my apartment was already sublet, and so I wound up being on campus all by myself for, about 3 months. It was wild. But while I was there, things were going on. Black Lives Pandemic protest. And I'm sorry that I'm mentioning the former president, but I thank Lydia for talking about the new normal. Black Lives Pandemic protest, vaccine crossed out. I want a treehouse, the Hollywood kind, huge, luxurious, built with a really soft bed and painless windows for ventilation and star observing. In this third floor tenement, fantasy is free. Please send pandemic poems. Please send Black Lives Matter poems. Please stay on topic. Please show your rage, your wisdom. Please stay on that third rail. Step there and implode. Why more poems on stalking death? We want more poems on Black sacrifice. Black sacrifice and stalking death. Let us know. The cardinal seasonal migration from south to north, from Virginia to Connecticut. That red bird swaggers backyards and park bench, oak trees, and the occasional pine. Or the electric energy of the many-voiced youth chanting, "I can't breathe," or "defund the police," or expletive deleted in the president's name. The current one, that snake coiled in or out of his bunker. Oh, builder of that fence surrounding the White House, you now have that gated community paid by we citizens. Oh, thrower of poisonous globs, desirous of adoration. Youth, oh youth, mobile and motivated, moving the energy flow, lightning strikes of faith and dream and right now and no more. Yes, Black Lives Matter. And there they are, living matter striking the Washington Monument, while little hands and little feet negotiate the bunker's chilly, moldy, moon-based rooms. But that treehouse for me and my dreamed happy family. The cardinals, robins, starlings, and finches pass the light, while their scary cousins, turkey vultures, hawks, and crows, float or flash clouds of their warrior wings on brisk display. Another day for the birds and the loud trilling. Another day and the world shakes from marching feet. Another day, masks punctuate faces. Virus loops the planet. Strong men erect fences on which the people post memoria and cartoons. And at one corner, someone is hissing. And this is the last poem I'm going to read. An American Haze. The first line comes from a line of poetry by Princess Hellman. Too many people have tried to come here thinking that things will be better, and they have been not so great. The border still is a place of incredible danger. An American Haze. Quote, of thunderclouds, cracks, and volunteers, unquote. Trumpeter lilies argue the loudest sense. You could wrap a fiesta with that smell, and when done, you will know you're at a funeral parlor, and tears are falling, falling. Stars brighten dancing figures, the ones that Jasper Johns remixes. Old elderly DJ got that pepper in his pocket. Who knows these people in the desert? Volunteers come with food and water left for desperados. The men, women, children stumbling into an American haze. They, too, these volunteers, are illegal, told to leave the desert unfootprinted, even as the men, women, children mark the earth, calling on insects, birds, and beasts to follow, to gather, to take what is left of the stumbled bodies. The border between good and evil can be porous, or hard as steel, or an ideology of hatred. The country is full of ideologues, and the border cracks. Thank you, Teresa, for bringing me into the tribe's realm, and I am blessed to have known Steve Cannon and that he brought you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia. Everybody, a round of virtual applause for Patricia Spears Jones. You'll also notice that as the poets are reading, I'm putting links to their books in the chat bar. All of these books can be bought. Steve was literally saying buy the book until the last few days of his life. I came to visit him in the hospital room, and a friend of his was in the other room who had broken her ankle, Bonnie Stein, and he brought her in, and he had somehow copies of my new book on him, and he made her buy several copies of the book in the hospital room. And I kept telling him, stop it, this is really inappropriate. He was like,
story. What a story. Oh my God, what a story. That is hilarious. That is wonderful to know. That's
so, you know, even when he wasn't publishing people's books, he was still selling their books for them. So buy Patricia's book, buy Lydia's book. I'm linking it in. I'm linking it.
I have Lydia's books. I love them.
Thank you so much, Patricia. That piece that you wrote, Patricia and I have been debating on Facebook recently about some of the sex scandals that have happened, and we seem to be sort of like in the middle, like some things are really bad and some things are bad but not criminal. Right, there are levels. Yeah. Not all sins are equal.
Yeah.
And I loved that poem, and I was just thinking to myself as you read it, it's a really scary time when the poets are the voices of sanity. I like the times when the poets get to be the voices of insanity, but in the time we live in now, poets have to be the voices of sanity. So that's very hard.
Well, you know, to quote myself,
thank you so much for
sex is messy. Thank you, girl. Oh man, I can't wait for the next one.
It's really messy.
Yay. I'm going to nominate myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, and our next poet coming up to bat, also someone I've known for many, many years. All of the readers today have been involved with a gathering of the tribes for a very long time. All of them predate me. All of them have been very close to Steve, and this feels like a familial reading. So I really appreciate everyone here just for being part of this. This is really warm and really beautiful. So thank you all so much for being here and being present. The next reader, Yuko Otomo, is a visual artist and a bilingual poet and writer of Japanese origin. She writes poetry, haiku, art criticism, travelogues, and essays. Her publications include Garden, Selected Haiku by Beehive Press, Genesis, Sisyphus Press, Small Poems, Ugly Duckling Press, The Hand of the Poet, Study and Other Poems on Art, Elements, and Frozen Heatwave, a poetry collaboration project with Steve Dalachinksy, her late husband and partner many, many years. She lives in New York City, and I know that this is going to be a beautiful set. Everybody, please give a virtual round of applause to Yuko Otomo. Is she here? There she is.
It's okay.
Yes, Yuko, it's okay.
Okay. Ooh. Thank you for inviting me to read with such great friends and great poets. I like to dedicate this reading to Steve Cannon, and one and only Steve Dalachinksy, and my brother who just passed away very recently, Yuko Otomo. Oh, let me. Yes, so, and I'm doing a quest of finishing reading one book, which is one long poem in 200 parts. And whenever I have a chance, I read this from this book to finish it. And now so far, I have till 92. So I'm starting with 93. And every segment is numbered. I'm not announcing the nouns, I give a little space the segment so you would know the how it's moving. And this is called Anonymous Landscape. It's a meditation on anonymity, naming, and our relationship to language. And so I am going to start with 93. I don't know how far I can go with this, but I will try my best. The cold, damp air of the void was timeless and cruel. I had to return to my nest for some basic comfort. There, I managed to forget that I was a bird. In the cosmic flow of things, non-things, Friday is just a speck in an anonymous zone. Why did we make a cycle of 7 days to turn round and round to always come back to the same day? A fierce need to release the pressure of working days make people become the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah. They all have names, but on a Friday night, they try to forget who they are supposed to be. Voluntarily, they become anonymous. Music bores me more and more. I prefer silence, but I know there's no such thing as silence. I love to contemplate on names given to flowers. They are almost as lovely as the flowers themselves. Muguet bois, lily of the valley, Suzuran, belt oat. We got thrown into some unexpected pre-election day in a neighborhood skit when we headed there for small casual food shopping. It was worst subway rush hour because of the crisscrossing of aggression force. People moved with no shared sense of direction. Everyone was compelled to take action by her personal instinct for survival. Everyone had a basket or cart trying to get something as much as and as quick as possible. In the midst of the chaos, a mother called her child's name. She ordered him not to fool around in the crowded space. The name was so simple and generic that it could have been a number instead of a name. This public space called supermarket was filled with items with names, customers with names buying, store attendants with names selling. Most of us forget that we all had proper noun to call and to be called. To see and be seen, to show and be shown, to peek and be peeked at. Windows opened and closed, facing each other across the street, make a valley in a city landscape. In the evening, with lights on, we see each other's private lives as if it were a cinema illusion. To see and be seen, to show and be shown, to peek and be peeked.
They're all exhibitionists and voyeurs in one. Recognizing each other's name completely unnecessary here. We let our curiosity aggressively activate because of a shared enmity. What's she cooking? He has some good taste. Look, she has lots of books. Wow, he's half naked. It's raining. Stop using a noun or an adjective with such as anonymous or rain. It's yours. It is a simple verb. Anonymous population of millions will pick one name out of a few on the list, or simply out of the top 2. Here, name signifies the future direction of the nation. It is a duel between the 2 names, and everyone is an executioner and a spectator in one. Some want to guillotine one name. Some want to re-glorify it. Some want a new shine. Here, names state every aspect of their political, social, philosophical ideas in the most concrete sense. A population of millions casts votes for one name or the other to decide the future of the country. People shout names of their favorite leaders, 2 emotional extremes: love, hate. At the end, everything goes on the name. How fascinating to see how one name gets chosen by millions of nameless people. Anonymity makes democracy, still fragile and easily breakable, move on. A name to represent the history and the body of work of art. His name is a household name now, but when he was working in pairs and series, his name was known only to a small group of people, friends, admirers. To the general mass, he was totally unknown, nameless. Now everybody knows his name, and we call him by his family name to frame entire life. It's a holiday, a day off. I look at the world outside the open window. 2 people at the balcony table across the street smile at me, and I smile back at them. One of them waves her hand, and I do the same. Our greetings are delivered by May air. None of us care about the names we carry. We just enjoy a mutual anonymous hello. On the bare, hard walls in the center of the city, no flowers bloom and no trees here bear fruit. Their solid density block the private memories of anonymous general masses who thought they are liberated from the burden of a feudal history. No matter what happens, anonymous crowd always remains nameless, even with their names registered in books. A name to hell for fascism, a name hell for democracy. It's all two faces of the same political agendas and ambitions in the name of happiness for all. Birds coo in the morning with no regard to name or namelessness. They don't even know we call them birds. Did I say that already? We crisscross with 10,000s of people exchanging blankets without words every day. One name to be hailed, one name to be burned. It's all for the common good and what it means to be human. All is well, report yourself, my dear mentors, whispers in my ear. A holiday afternoon with a voice of an anonymous Santa, sounds of an anonymous instrumentalist, all merge into the magical realism of life. A holiday afternoon with the voice of a human and sounds of various instruments made by many other humans, played by another human. We all have names to call and be called. We carry our names as if they were a skin called who we are. A chair is not a proper noun. It's a noun. Father chair, parachair, gone, embraces stones with names chiseled in them for eternity. Names chiseled look more like nouns rather than the proper nouns originally given. A moon-shaped eternity, a sun-shaped moment now, a star-shaped flare of time, all a puff, a bubble, a breath of nothing, everything. Pie de terra, super nest, birds fly and come home to sleep in their nest without thinking of human words. Beautiful little girl with a beautiful girl's name, her eyes shine whenever she hears her beautiful name called. A beautiful little girl knows her name well, and she knows it was. A flower floating in the air greets the sun-setting blue sky. A beautiful girl loves her name, and she knows its heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to light candles. We're ready for the rehearsal of our show, The Fire Human Comedy. It'll be an open format. We invite you to join us in spirit and in body so that the show will be a total success. Ladies and gentlemen, let us start our anonymous landscape. Maybe I stop here. Do I have more time? I don't know.
Yes, Yuko, you have about 3 more minutes if you want. Yeah, if you want to go on.
Okay,
Or
I'll go a little more. Okay. Okay, let us start our anonymous landscape. Half-naked women with bare breasts, the swan and butterfly wings, naked plump babies, also with winged stubs, horned goats, fruits of the earth, flowers of all seasons, pensive women carrying the weight of weightless void. The sky is a mirage full of laughter and sobs. Let's not control or direct ourselves too much where we are heading. It's all meant to be. We'll go where we're meant to go. Do not shout the line. You are assigned to speak it instead. Try to be still, since the music will start very soon. Blood red, wine red, fire gold, le chant, la musique, la comédie, dance, and another's joy of living life, whether it's a comedy, a tragedy, a tragicomedy, a comic tragedy. We step, jump. I'll stop here. Now I'm 117 I read. So next one, I start from 118. Thank you, Sapisha.
That was beautiful.
Thank you so much, Yuko. That was
beautiful. Thank you. I'm driving home and
I wrote this whole poem in Paris, so it's some French words here and there, which although I don't speak French.
Thank you so much, Yuko. And please don't forget to, if you click chat, look in the chat bar and you can see the audience's response. Right now, people are just saying beautiful, spectacular. I actually wrote down some of the poems. Sometimes as I read, as I listen, I just like to write down some of my favorite lines. With no regard for names or nameness, they don't even know. Call them birds. What is it? Did I mishear? With no regard for names or what is the word?
Namelessness.
Or namelessness.
No regard, name, and nameless, yes.
I see. I thought you had coined a new word. With no regard for names or namelessness, they don't even know we call them.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Yuko.
Right. They don't even know that we call them birds. That's true.
And it's amazing because it's true.
I love birds. So this.
Thank you so much, Yuko Otomo, for joining us. That was absolutely gorgeous. All right, we are moving on to the next. I also want to say, I'm putting the links in the chat. We put in the wrong link for Yuko, but I'm gonna correct that in a minute. So if you just wait a minute and check in the chat, you will see a new link to Yuko's most recent book. But for now, I'm going to bring on, this is our last reader. I really appreciate everyone staying here with us and listening and just taking time out to be present for poetry. It really means a lot. And it's just a beautiful thing to do. And I always feel better when I do it after I just really immerse myself in poetry for an hour or so. I come out feeling a lot better than I did before. And today is no different. Everyone, our last reader, I'm so excited to have him here. It's an absolute honor. Reggie Gaines is a 2-time Tony Award nominated playwright, Grammy Award nominated lyricist, and artistic director of the Downtown Urban Arts Festival. His books include The Original Buckwheat and Abstract Sax. Reg edited the poetry anthology A Year in Ink, toured the PBS documentary Senior Year, and is on the faculty of EM Arts Online University for 2020 and 2021. Reg is currently writer, director, and producer of The 88 with music by Calvin Gaines. Everybody, please give a big virtual round of applause to Reggie Gaines. Here he comes.
For Steve Dalachinksy. Ba-da, ba-da-da. Ba-ba-da, ba-da-da. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Haiku number 52. Don't need religion to have peace on earth. Just a idle soul. Strength. To see at loves of me, loves of me, loves of me, loves of me, love, power, endure, the brass, in the presence of supreme up to all, I'm anxious swing.
I'm so sorry. Your mic is, I've checked, as your mic is breaking up.
Check. Still? Hello. Check.
It's at the beginning sounded good, and then it started getting fuzzy, and people are commenting that they can't hear it as well. So I think it's that way.
Am I in again? Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Charlie.
Okay.
Love, compassion, serenity. Afro brass, Afro blue. Nothing. One. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Reg, you might be better without the earplugs in.
Let me try.
Thing.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. When you talk
Don't give me a thumbs up.
normally or casually, I can hear you, but when you start reading the poem, it sounds almost exclusively like fuzz. And I think Patricia Spears Jones is also saying it's, it's this way.
Let me try something. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. I'm in a new.
Maybe he should mute his video.
How about?
Mute the video. Maybe that'll work. Sometimes that works.
Yeah, some people are suggesting, like Sheila and Mia, it's a kind of fuzz. It might be that you're moving, or it might be something rubbing against the microphone on your headphones, could be interfering with the actual microphone. Now I can't hear you at all, so I'm so sorry. I really want to hear this poem. This sounds amazing.
Maybe he should mute the video.
Hello, turn off the video.
Okay, I can hear you a little now. Oh,
Turn
I
off
don't
the
think
video.
the video has anything to do with it.
Check. How about now?
I can hear you now.
Sounds good now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe it's right about the video.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Wow, I cut my own time. Okay. Charlie Parker, Frank Morgan, Sonny Rollins, Dexter Gordon. Yes? No?
No, it's getting fuzzy again, Reg.
Huh.
Maybe you want to unplug the earphones and talk right into the computer.
Check, check, check. Better?
That's much better. Get rid of the earphones.
Okay, all right. Get rid of the headphones.
Put your video back on. That should make no difference.
All righty. Sorry, everyone. Check. Good?
Yes, much better. Yes.
This is for Steve Cannon. Love Suprema, love Suprema, love Suprema, love Supreme. Indian love Supreme. I want to talk about. Begin all Alabama after the just swing. Wild cousinary.
I don't know. I have to stop it because it's, again, it's just when you start doing that for some reason, it goes into total static. I'm so sorry about this.
Well, you know what? You should let somebody else jump in or do whatever you got to do, because I'm really sorry about it. You don't have to me. Don't worry about it.
It might be the movement.
No, I'm sitting in not really moving, but it's progress. If you want to talk to somebody else or have somebody else read a little poem, or Danny Schott or Wanda Phipps, who I see in the house. All right, but I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. And I don't want to slow down the roll. You know, I should slow down the roll.
And the strange thing is, when you're just talking to us, we can hear you just fine. I don't know why that would be, if you're leaning in and touching the microphone or anything. So
you can hear me right now?
Yeah.
You can hear me now?
Yes. It's very bizarre.
It's all right. Well, let me try one more.
Or what if you dialed in on your phone?
Say it again.
What if you dialed in on your phone, just through the phone number? Do you want to try that?
Yeah, that would probably be better. You should do that.
Let me text you the phone number, Reggie, and let's see if maybe we can do that.
Well, we're running out of time anyway, so I don't need to be slow.
Well, we have until 5:30. I would love to hear one piece from you. It might be the nature of that that's sort of more like singing or rapping. Do you have one that you're just talking that would be better just more calmly? I'm not sure if the mic is picking something up there.
Very, very, very weird. Hello, 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 hello. Still nothing.
Nope, that sounds fine.
That sounds good.
Okay. Black on black Beamer boosted from Bayonne, flying north on Bergen Ave. 3 cop cars in rearview mirror, sirens screaming. Chan rips right on Claremont, zooms past the oceans. My chance in Valerie Davis's driveway. Tap dips down Claremont. Towards Eddie. Chan slides from driver's side across the street. The slow pimp stroll, the cop car squeeze to a halt. 5 officers exit, split in different directions. Chan does one and walks towards it and run. Catch Tap, who ASAP or go to jail. So Valerie back to the things, motions towards the door. Latch locks, down footsteps rise behind. Picture window of cops chasing tails. Chin on floors cracked and cops gun drawn. Make women stare at Chan, whose hand reaches for Beamer's door, unsure what's first. Chan smirk Valerie scream. Shell, shaft, and breast. Chan falls as if he has no legs. Following English collecting only souls who know conquerors in this unfold on teacher's desk. Ladies met by gold-braided brass who stares as if killed one desk. Cuffed, red rights, watch cop, and trend. Led to shiny black and white, which is conspicuously sits in front of the side of through these Jersey streets past what once was no county jail. Was that audible?
Yeah, mostly. There's a little
guess
interference.
not.
Mostly, yeah, that was better. It's
Oh, God. All right. Well, let me try one more. And
Patricia's writing, this is sort of fascinating. When he speaks without performing, you can hear him fine. But when he gets more energetic, he breaks up.
really? Unbelievable.
So strange.
Strategic systemic skullduggery based on preservation of slavery maneuvers murderous mentality in every law enforcement agency where 83% require GED, while only 8% four-year degree. Stupidity rarely decides, yet ultimately witness acts of police brutality dealt. Black blindness, silence, perpetuates hate, reluctance cops committing catastrophic crimes, confines of denial, killing with conviction, violent, integral component of convoluted job description, apprenticed in Gulf, Iraq, Afghanistan, clandestine tendencies terrorizing borders, no law, just orders to shock and awe. Intimidating force must be forced to take course and less uneducated office occupy serving while learning unnerving tactics, earning commendations, daily degradation, doubts, shouting, shoving, shooting, slamming, little understanding of tense situations and believing black skin disposable, supposing privileged license for haphazard actions, calculated chaos created, another body checked. Hypocrisy becomes transparent accountability, like intellectual inferiority behind a furtive mask of morality. While bedrooms, doorsteps, front, blue, black is what we see.
We heard half
How
of
was that? Oh, and
Reggie, can I ask something?
I'm so sorry. I apologize. Yeah.
Can I read one of your poems?
Hell yeah, sure.
Is that okay, Chavisa? Chasing EK? Chasing EK?
With it.
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I can't read every poem in this book, but I can read some of them. I can read this one. Okay, this is from the original Buckwheat. Jason EK. Sick of walking, tired of talking to tired clerks telling me they ain't got what I want. Needs to find some black arts rhyme done chased EK all day. See aloud sitting on the shelf and one healthy preciosa violating eye while cooling with Baudelaire and Bly. Be Beatty, his joker-deuced spruce goose collection of rhythm and rhyme, a metaphorical metronome verbally mugging time from joker, joker, deuce, while just below but slightly behind cries Bryant, snuggled between Browning and Burroughs, night-like Dominican girdles from Song of the Sirens, laced around her, hip jazzy class like tumor, less tame, but I still don't see names like Benson, Medina, Perdomo. Guess folks don't know who's dropping the bombs, and I thought that was the American dream, not the one Sapphire be writing. born to jump off the page and eat your dick, and I'm sick of seeing the real world poet's hair. Blurbed by Holman, oh no, motherfucker, don't you dare. I stare at the cover of Negrophobia, somehow sitting next to Joyce, and I can almost hear Darius's voice. It do feel like a Brillo pad. Mad Miss Phenomenal got a shelf to herself, while Baraka ain't got but a book called Conversations. So while you don't talk to him face to face, too pissed I almost missed the mini renaissance, Cullen, Hurst, and Langston Hughes, weary blues, flying higher than that tired ass dove, while just below, but depths above, is Gerald Manley Hopkins, dead hundreds of years. Pero donde está Pinheiro y Estevez y Dumas and Dunbar and Walker and Jordan and Harper, Francis Not Mike, Patricia Smith, Nio, and where the fuck is Etheridge Knight? Out of print. This meant I had to go to Network to search for the book. Jumped on the path and realized it's the first damn place I should have looked. Jason E.K., that means Etheridge Knight.
This was wonderful. See? Community.
I did my best, Reg.
Can you unmute Reg so he can respond?
No, don't do that.
Tracy, can you unmute Reg?
Good, Danny. That was good, Danny.
Thanks, Reg.
Can you hear me?
What's that?
You can actually hear me?
No.
All right, well, I'll finish with that. Because he mentioned all my favorite. Yeah, I'll finish with Baraka. Everything we don't understand is explained in art. Heart beats inside. Spirit courses in a circling translucency, pumping Detroit red deep as the sea. And he who has bitten us is bitter. And he who has bitten us is bitter. And from that wound pours Malcolm, little by little. Baraka, Mary Baraka, from my favorite book of poetry.
Wow.
Thanks, Chavisa. Thank y'all for putting up with my IT problem. That's ridiculous.
Well,
You know what's really bad about this? I'm getting an office space that I just rented out. All right? Because my wife is now working at home and she got 2 computers and a 12 extension phone going, and so I'm not getting through. So I went and rented a space to do my readings because I've been doing a lot, my workshops and readings, and having a problem here. That kind of sucks. But thank you all for your patience. Thanks for inviting. I'm sorry. Right, because that was my whole purpose of coming here today, pay homage to them. You know, I don't know. Besides my father, Steve Cannon and Steve Dalachinksy, probably the only 2 human beings that know more about jazz than my father did. So I did to them just for that I could, you know, I'm really jazz head. I say something really, one of those 2 Steves, you know, the melody, they know what key it was in, you know, so that's what I miss about them guys, the music aspect of it. And they wrote with musicality, which is kind of like disappearing. People always talk about rhythm and writing and this and that and this, but it's going and leaving us. The musicality and of the poetry is kind of like dissipating for some reason or other, and I just don't know why. But sorry for my IT problems. That sucks. That really sucks.
What's so strange, I could hear everything you just said when you weren't reading a poem. It's really, really almost ominous, you know? It's really strange, Reg.
Poetry poison or something. Something's in the water, you know. Thanks, Danny. That was gutsy. That was gutsy, Danny. Thank you.
I won't read Thomas the Burnt English Muffin next.
Oh my God.
Every time I see
Isn't
him,
it funny?
every time I see him on TV, I think that, and I can't say that out loud to anyone.
And I used to just what he did, he did supposedly hip, unseen places. And I say, oh, people be like half, like, ooh, problem. What's my problem? Did y'all see what he did to Anita Hill? All right. And I'm pissed to this day at Joe Biden for what he did to her. They can all act all hiding and shit, but what he did to her was just as bad. His attitude was just as bad. So every time he's talking about doing something great, I go back to the videos of the shit he was saying to her face. Like the nerve, you that's what's bad about growing old and keeping your memory, not getting Alzheimer's and dementia. So you remember, then you can call people out. You can call them out. That's the best thing about getting old. You're artistic, you're intelligent, and if somebody says some stupid shit, and you could call them out on the carpet, and because you're older, they won't whip your ass. They won't beat you up. They won't try to punch you in the face.
That may or
So
may
you
not
almost have to call people out.
The portion of the evening.
Like Steve.
Sorry, IT problems. I swear to God.
Oh my God. All right. We are over time, but this has been amazing. It just feels like I missed all of you. Thank you to all of our readers, Patricia Spears Jones, Lydia Cortez, Yuko Otomo, Reggie Gaines, and Danny Shot.
Danny Shot in the house.
All right. Any parting words from any of the poets?
Well, I have something to say.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
We just signed a contract today with the on 42nd near 10th or 9th, and it looks going ahead with our theater festival in June, the Downtown Urban Arts Festival live. And so all of you in earshot, if you reach out to me, I'll get you some comps to come see the plays. Just Google Downtown Urban Arts Festival. All right, just get in touch with me if there's anything you want to see. There'll be 16 plays or musicals in 21 days. So if you want to come, bring a friend, get a comp, just reach out to me. Hopefully it'll happen. But we signed some papers today, so I'm on the quest. I don't know what's happening. They're opening up something. So keep that in mind. Downtown Urban Arts Festival. Reach out to me. I'll get you some comps, especially if you're a poet. That's definitely all the featured poets today. Hit me up. I'll get you some comps to see whatever you like. Patricia, Lydia, Danny, Yoko. Yoko. I didn't even say her name, bro. I didn't even say her name correctly.
Yuko?
It's so dumb.
The first time, Yuko.
Teresa, thank you so very, very much. Thank you. And it was great for me to get a chance again to read with Lydia and to finally get to read with Yuko and to hear the haunted sounds of Reggie. Haunting.
Same here. Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you, tribes. Thank you, poets. Thank you, beautiful audience. And Reggie, you're the best.
Thank you.
I love
Great.
That was great.
We're all fabulous because we're artists. We're fabulous just because we're artists. That alone is us. But all love you all. I'll see you soon, sooner than later. All right, I'm gonna sign out. Go yell at these people.
See you soon.
Don't yell. It's not worth it.
I won't yell. I'll poetically cuss them out. See you. Thanks, Danny.
There's nothing better than a poetic curse.
Oh, Katie's
That's the best.
goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Oh, Lordy, that was hilarious.
Sayonara. Bye.
Oh,
Yuko.
Ciao.
I hope I see you soon.
thank you. I love you
Javisa,
all.
it was,
Yes.
it was,
It was real. It was good.
it was real. That's all I got to say.